ex-girlfriend of 5 years after she forced me to open our relationship. Plus update. It feels very emasculating telling this, but here we go. Me 25 male and me ex-girlfriend 24 female have been together for 5 years, and everything was great until she got a new job. She quickly became friends with a girl at her job named Jessica. Jessica has an open relationship, and she somehow made my girlfriend interested in it, and every day my ex-girlfriend would tell me how great it would be for us, and how we would met other people, etc. I always told her how I felt, and how I didn't want to be with any other women, and that just the image in my head of her being with someone else would destroy me. Anyway, we had multiple conversations about it, until the beginning of this year when she gave me an ultimatum. She told me we either open our relationship, or we were done. I don't know what in the world I was thinking, but out of fear of losing her, I agreed. It didn't take long for her to find a casual partner. She went out with a not-so-close friend of mine. She slept at his mom's house, and apparently, he took her to work in the morning. I was so confused. I kept asking myself what I did wrong. When she came back to our house, I didn't want to talk to her and I avoided her every time I could. But at that point, I probably knew it was over. I lost all my attraction for her. I felt disgusted by her. It took me a couple of weeks to look her in the eye again. She went out with him a few more times in a period of 6 or 7 months. We no longer being intimate without a rubber on. And every single time, she would whine about how I wouldn't do it with her without protection, and how I was making her feel like a dirty woman. Anyway, about a month ago, I started going to the gym and I met a really nice girl, and we started talking. After a few weeks exchanging messages, we went out, and it finally hit me that I don't need to be in a toxic relationship, that I don't need to agree with everything she says just because she wants to. I was ready to finally get over with this mess. I waited her to get home from work, and I told her I wanted to break up, and told her to leave my house as soon as possible. To my surprise, she didn't freak out. She didn't even cry or try to manipulate me like she usually do. It's been 6 days now as I write this. I'm still waiting for the sadness to settle in, but I just feel released. It's finally over. I'm still pretty confused about all of this, and I just wanted to share it with someone. Now for the top advice before reading the update. It's been 6 days now as I write this. I'm still waiting for the sadness to settle in, but I just feel released. You already went through the stages of grief, looks like. Denial. She wanted an open relationship. You didn't. This is usually a relationship-ending conversation. Anger. You had multiple arguments and an ultimatum. Bargaining. You thought if you accept an open relationship, it would save your relationship. Depression. You saw her fooling around and couldn't look at her without disgust. You avoided her. Acceptance. You finally acknowledge your relation is toxic and over. You met a new girl. Don't think there is more sadness concerning your ex. I wish you the best. You deserve someone better. Hope the gym girl turns out to be everything you hope and deserve. Good luck. Originally, these stages refer to one's own feelings about dying, not grieving. It's still interesting to see how it can apply to all kinds of loss. People ask for open relationships when they already have someone in mind who they want to sleep with. It's not a coincidence, it just happened to be a mutual friend. She wanted to sleep with him without technically cheating. Yes, and I'm not one to judge or anything. But open relationships are just ways of keeping the advantages you're getting from your partner, but at the same time, looking for a better one. In my opinion, it can never work as a successful relationship. She didn't freak out or cry because she was already more interested in the other guy. Please let this be a lesson and never give into an open relationship again. I hope you hit it off with the new girl. Now for the update. I wrote this last night expecting to be judged, and all I got was supportive and uplifting messages. Thank you everyone. I blocked her on everything I could, but she keeps texting me from different numbers. Apparently, moving back to her mom's house isn't so great. But I made my decision, and I'm ready to move on. Again, thank you everyone. I wish my friends were like you guys. Let her stay with the other men she wanted to sleep with. I'm glad you got out of that toxic relationship, and you are doing what's best for you, OP. Please update if something happens. Nothing much, she's been calling me like crazy, but I'm just ghosting her. I want to be sad, but I'm just glad I dodged the bullet. It took me a while to notice, but life with her was miserable, and life as a single man isn't so bad. If anything happens, I'll reply in here. Thank you. Next story. My girlfriend cheated on me when I was about to propose to her. I, 25 male, caught my girlfriend 24 female in bed with another guy. Last week I came early from work to surprise her with a custom ring I made myself that I have been working on for 4 months. Spent 2 months making a smartphone app just for us that includes all our memories together, all our pictures, our favorite songs, our favorite quotes, all our drawings, etc. Spent 2 full weeks on a drawing that I made of us together, and it was the first drawing that I actually liked how it looks. I told her friends and my friends that I am proposing to her today and told them to keep it a secret, and everyone, including me, were excited. These stuffs are just what I did for the proposal. When we started living together, I changed the painting in the room to her favorite color, lights that change on voice command, and some other stuff. I did all that just to make her happy. These stuffs are stuff you can see. I gave her all my attention, all my time, all my efforts, bought her so many gifts, always stayed with her whenever she needed me. More than once, I left work because she needed me in emergency. More than once I stopped at the side of the road because she has important stuff to tell me. When I'm not around and sleeping somewhere outside the house, I would leave my phone unmuted in case she needed me. These are just few things I'd done for her. I never asked anything in return, and she really never done anything for me anyways, and I was okay with it. All I wanted was her to stay loyal. So yeah, I came home with the ring in my hand and all the surprises ready to show her, but I saw her with another guy on our bed. I will skip all the stuff I did and just say I kicked them both out. She said, "He is better than you anyways. He understands me and I am happier with him." That was last week. I barely ate anything this entire week and couldn't sleep for 2 days. Her friends stopped talking to her, and I am happy that I have people around me, but I still cry over her every day since it happened. I gave her the world, and all I wanted from her is to stay with me. I don't understand what I did wrong. I feel a little better now, but it still hurts me so much. I am planning to sell the house and look to live somewhere else so I can forget about her. I know she reads a lot of Reddit stories, and I know one day she will see this. I won't mention your name, but I hope one day you get the same pain I had. You almost killed me without touching me. I hope you are happy. You dodged a bullet, OP. Take that as a blessing in disguise. I'm so sorry for what you went through. I hope you're able to heal from this one day. UX is trash and doesn't deserve you. Better now than a year or 2 into marriage, or even worse after kids. A bullet. No, he dodged a tactical nuke. He deserves someone so much better than her. From what is shown here, he put so much effort into making his partner feel so happy. Honestly, his feelings are more than valid, but this seems like a blessing in disguise in the long run. First, you mentioned, I never asked for anything in return, and she really never done anything for me anyways, which is huge red flag. A partner in healthy relationship will do stuff for you without you having to ask, male or female. Honestly, if I were you, I'd take this as a blessing. You were about to ask someone who doesn't respect or value to be your wife. If anything, I think you should be smiling right now. However, I get you were in love with her, so this will sting. But remember, this is for the best. My honest advice for you is to cry and let out your emotions now. Talk about it, work through it, and most importantly, don't bottle it up. Block her with 0 contact. Use the next 3 to 6 months to work on yourself and become a better version of yourself. By this time, if you're ready to start dating, you'll be healed and be a better version of yourself. Stay strong. Exactly. I can't even count the number of times my wife gave me little surprises to show her love. If there is no effort, love dies. OP, find things you enjoyed before you met her and do them. Stay away from movies or music that you enjoyed together. Someday you will be able to watch or listen to them again without pain, but for now avoid them. Cry, but don't let yourself wallow in the pain. Spend time with your friends, they will help you immensely. And last, remember that her actions are not a reflection on you. There is no excuse for cheating. Period. 100%. To me it sounds like OP gave and was the one in for 75% plus, and she was only in for 25% or less. This is just as much his fault as it is hers. He gave too much of himself away and sacrificed too much of his dignity for her to respect him anymore. It has to be 50-50, and if it isn't, you need to back off and let her come into you more, or you're just going to come across as too much and push her away into someone else's arms. Last story. I'm finally ready to leave my husband, but he can't understand why. My story is probably the opposite of anyone here, but for me it made sense, even though it doesn't for my husband and the rest of the family. I needed to write somewhere to see if there is anybody out there who understands me, or am I, as anyone around me believes, going mental. I found this from a YouTuber. My husband cheated on me 5 years ago on a work trip. His colleague sent me the private tape she made. Apparently, they slept together. She used the tape to get him to start a relationship with her, and when he refused, she exposed him to me. I was in utter shock. This just couldn't happen to us. How could he do this to me when he said he loved me so much? I couldn't take the images out of my head. I was broken and paralyzed. I think because while the normal reaction should have been to yell and shout and leave him, I just went into a depression and was too weak to take actions. He asked for marriage counseling, and for 2 years I lived in this depressed trance, and I honestly don't remember thinking of anything but my husband and his affair, seeing the images she sent me whenever I closed my eyes. After a few months and with the therapist's recommendation, he tried to get intimate with me, but it just triggered my PTSD. I was so embarrassed to give him my body, when it wasn't enough for him. I felt so disgusting and ugly, and him touching me was so shameful. Like, why would he want something that wasn't enough? Something so disgusting. He tried to make me believe that I was beautiful and more than enough, and that it was him not me, and it was never about me not being enough. But for me it was all lies and a bunch of gibberish. I knew for a fact I was disgusting, and I had proof: my husband's cheating. After 2 years, things were getting brighter. The nightmares and images started fading, and individual and couples therapy did miracles. I started to love myself again, and sometimes it went days without even thinking of my husband's affair. We started being intimate again after 3 years. And while the image of him with her was always there, I thought that I just had to live with it. Here is where I might be weird. Now 5 years later, I'm fully happy, feel that I have gained back the control over my life, and I put that whole ordeal behind me. At the same time now, I feel that my marriage is over. My husband is in total disarray. Why now when we are finally happy again? When I'm back to be my old self and finally is over what he did. I even forgave him, I did. But I don't understand his confusion. For me, now I'm happy and strong again. I feel I want more. From myself, my life, and from the man I share my life with. I couldn't leave when I was too weak to think properly and without bias. I couldn't leave when I didn't have a free will, consumed by grief. Why can't he see that it was a healthy way of thinking, not making decisions while hurting? Am I wrong? I'm 35 now. I want to start a family. I want to start this family with someone who would never have done this to me. Doesn't this make sense? Now for the top advice. One of the greatest lines I've ever heard is, "It's not that I don't forgive you, I just know better now." You can never undo the damage created by cheating on someone. Even if you learn to live with it, the relationship is forever changed. This is not what you signed up for. Facing for better or worse assumes you are doing it as a couple. Cheating violates that contract. My ex-husband cheated on me and then lied about it multiple times even after I was sure. I decided that I was too in love and he was too perfect to have lied to me. Spoiler alert, he lied, and it shattered me, and we never got over it. I should have broken up with him, and instead we got engaged. In retrospect, we never got over it. It wasn't so much the act of putting his junk in somebody else, it was looking me dead in the face and telling me I was crazy for thinking that it was true. Agreed wholeheartedly. Found out my ex had been cheating on me with her ex before me for 2.5 years of our 3-year relationship. That kind of pain just messes with you bad. The insecurities and trust issues that form from it are some of the hardest things to get over. The last few months of our relationship after I had found out, and she cut contact with ex and convinced me to stay, and that we could fix it and work it out, all were agonizing, and I'm still a little messed up over it all years later. It did major damage to me too, and it's been years. I rarely think about him anymore, but something will trigger a memory, and I get really angry all over again for what he did to me, and how I had to start all over at 46. New town, new job, new house. I lost my dogs because I had to stay with people because I lost my house to him. There's a lot of crap that goes down with this kind of scenario. You're allowed to forgive him and find yourself again, and still not want to be married to him. He broke you down, you built yourself back up. This is exactly what I did. I'm sure everyone's definition of forgiveness can be different, but I'll say that when I became indifferent and focused more on what I wanted out of my life and future, I had no option but to leave. And because I made that decision, I'm now less than 2 weeks away from achieving my biggest dream for the past 6+ years. Yours is not an unusual story for those who choose to reconcile after infidelity, especially those with a remorseful spouse. At some point, you wake up and realize you want and need more. You've worked through your trauma and your grief, and you've emerged stronger and more capable, more in control of your desires and what you want from your life and a romantic partner. Those with unremorseful spouses struggle more because they're still trying to win the approval of someone who betrayed them. It's harder to get to a place of strength. Your decision makes sense to me. More importantly, it makes sense to you, and that's all that should matter. This makes me feel so much better about staying with my ex longer than I should have. I know myself. I know that if I hadn't stayed, I would have spent the rest of my life paralyzed by what-ifs. It would have kept me in a funk longer. I'm on my way out of a funk with my ex. We didn't break up for anything crazy, distance BS. Things are going fine, and there's a real possibility we get back together. We spent the entire holiday together. But there's times lately, as the depression fades because I'm happier now that things are going well, that I stop for a minute and wonder if I even really care anymore. I do, but it's actually really scary that I even think about it.